Good morning, good morning. In the news this morning. Today is the third day of October and the third day of VlogTOBER slash YouTober slash I haven't decided what I'm calling this yet, but you know what I'm talking about. So today is Monday, and to give you a life update, this week is starting out super weird. I am noticing that I am feeling lower in mood more than I'm feeling up. Like I just have a lot of things on my mind and they seem to be weighing more stressfully than others, and it's bringing my mood down when I wake up in the morning. It's making it hard to like maintain that just like feel good place throughout the day. I find I have to like prompt myself and do things to make me feel good. More today, more the last few days than others. So that's just some real talk. I am working on it. I'm talking to friends and the people who are close to me because there are some transitions that are happening in my life right now. I'm actually supposed to do this personal development workshop here in New York City this week from Wednesday to Sunday, and I was super excited about it, but I just got a call today saying that they may reschedule it till November because I don't know, maybe they didn't get enough people to sign up. I don't know, but I was really like mentally ready for this this week, like filling out some stuff. It's been a pretty emotional actually week for me, and a lot of stuff is coming to the surface, and yeah, I'm really ready to do this workshop, and I'm bummed that that they might reschedule it, and the week in November that they may reschedule it isn't optimal for me. It's just a lot. It's near Thanksgiving, and I mean, maybe it's an excuse, like I could move clients around and make it work. Maybe it wouldn't be the biggest deal ever, but like I committed to doing it this week and I rearranged people for that, which worked out quite easily, but come November, I don't know what the deal will be, and anyway, I need to talk to a couple people before I decide what I'm going to do. But I just feel like a lot of things are in transition and it's very uncomfortable. Maybe it's like the transition of good things, like I'm supposed to be moving in the next month or two. I'm embarking on all these new goals and ideas that I have for my business, on the mental health aspect and on the video aspect, friendships, relationships, like there's just a lot. There's just a lot. So I am feeling all the feels. That's what it feels like. But today I took a shower. This is what's so interesting about mood. It's like, you know, the more you think of it, the more you want to dwell in it, the more you stay there, the more you get stuck in it. And like, you can, like, I don't feel awesome right now, but I can feel good enough to go and support one of my friends, one of my clients, in something that she's doing, and get myself together, and it feels good to take a shower and get my makeup on and get dressed and do that. So I'm just gonna take it day by day. It's not every day that I'm making all these decisions and all these things are happening, so day by day, minute by minute, whatever it's gonna take. That's not what the video is about today. The video today is about my top 5 favorite nutrition and fitness podcasts that I get a ton of really, really, really wealthy information from. I have a really strong foundation of what I do in the gym and why I do it, and programming, and my nutrition choices for my clients and how to make tweaks and changes in their programming. It's a little different when it comes to doing it for yourself, but having this, I have a really strong perspective, and I am not dogmatic in any way, but I do have a strong focus and base of what needs to get done to make the necessary changes. So, with that being said, all right, my first recommendation is called Mind Pump Raw Fitness Truth. It's basically 3 guys who get around their microphones, and each of them have a different specialty in fitness. Like some are, one of them is a bodybuilder, another one has done other competitive stuff. Anyway, they all have different backgrounds, so they bring different perspectives to their conversation. And they really break down the basics of what you need to know about training. They're really informative. They are not influenced by supplement companies or like bro science. They really bring a lot of knowledge, education, experience into the conversation. I've been listening to them for over a year and I have learned a ton just from this podcast. They've recently launched a YouTube channel where they are showing like different ways to do mobility training and build your basics for your big movements. They are a little crude, not gonna lie. They curse a lot and they talk a lot about sex, and they're not afraid to, like, you know, be dudes on a podcast. That's just who they are. So if that's not your thing, maybe this podcast isn't for you. But if you want to learn some really awesome fitness, and also they give some pretty sound nutrition advice. At least they're not dogmatic. They do bring in a lot of different perspectives, and they're open to changing like their own programming and nutrition planning with the new evidence and science that they learn. So I think it's pretty great. Okay, the second one I recommend is called the Paleo Women podcast. And these are two ladies who, one of them I know has a background in nutrition through this school that she talks about. And the other one, I don't know what her education is. Neither of them are dietitians, I know that. But they do talk about paleo, but they also talk a lot about just like different underlying causes that could be having an effect on your mood, on your weight gain, on your hormone imbalance, on your energy levels. They have a lot of people write in and ask questions related to paleo, but they're not strictly like you need to be paleo. They are really educated in like functional type ways of approaching how to heal your body. Less of a diagnosis, like medical thing. Seem to be really well versed and have a lot of scientific knowledge about autoimmune diseases and different things that could, like through lifestyle factors that you may be doing compounded that could be negatively affecting you. And they're very open and vulnerable and pretty candid with the audience, and they're pretty cool. Like, it's interesting to hear their chit chat back and forth. So that's number 2. So the third is Sigma Nutrition Radio, and this is hosted by this guy named Danny Lennon, and he is, I don't know his backing, but he interviews a ton of people, a new person on every podcast, a PhD, a doctor, some kind of scientific researcher, someone with extreme experiential knowledge, but more than that, he brings real science. It's all science-based evidence of the research that the people that he's interviewing are actually doing on everything from nutrition to fitness to bodybuilding to powerlifting. Like, he brings in all the perspectives. He also asks the questions that you want to know about things that you hear, fads. If they're fads, what's the actual scientific backing? Like, he doesn't really have a connection to any one particular way of doing it. He really just wants to bring in what different ways people are doing, what is backed by great scientific research, what is controversial research that is also interesting and is working, but is not necessarily, like, you know, 100% supported by everyone, which I'm kind of a little bit, I am for, because I think that there is so much that's not understood. And yeah, like the latest one that was done at the end of September is on sleep, training, timing, and performance in elite athletes. So sometimes they do talk about like actual elite athletes, but then sometimes they talk about the everyday person. Like the one before that is inflammation a problem, and should I use an anti-inflammatory diet? So there is a ton of information. It does get a little bit technical, but it's very professionally done. Sometimes I listen to these podcasts a few times and I take notes. I feel like it's sitting in a nutrition lecture, but not as intense as college. The next one is the Phoenix Helix podcast. This is one of the newer ones I've started to listen to because I've been doing more research on autoimmune diseases, how nutrition affects that, how your supplementation affects that, the different kinds of autoimmune diseases, everything from psoriasis to MS to type 1 diabetes. It's incredible what people are affected by. They talk about this autoimmune protocol. Again, they bring in a few doctors, experts, to talk about certain autoimmune diseases and people's personal experiences with what it was like before they tried to manage it with any kind of functional medicine, maybe their experience with like a traditional doctor and traditional pharmaceuticals, and then basically like what made them transition to looking at an autoimmune protocol through nutrition and supplementation, going like an alternative route, and how their symptoms have improved, how their quality of life has improved, how their lab results have improved, how their weight has improved. But if you can notice, there's a trend that really none of these have a strong correlation with like how do I lose weight. It's more like how do I get my health back? How do I control and get better quality of life through what's on the end of my fork versus what's in the pill that my doctor is telling me to take. The last one I'm going to recommend is the TED Talks for Health, because they have a different, professional that they invite to do this, to do these talks wherever they're being held, and they talk a lot about more than just fitness and nutrition. They talk a lot about other larger aspects of health, like diseases, new surgeries, new ways of treatment. So I'm getting a little bit of a medical perspective, but like they will also cover mental health in this. They'll cover, like one of them is simple hacks for life with Parkinson's. I mean, maybe that sounds really silly, but another one is good news in the fight against pancreatic cancer. So stuff that I don't really know that much about in the medical field, breaks that they're making that are truly, truly helping people. There's one on this list that's what really happens when you mix medications. So again, I'm just educating myself from all different aspects, and I am very committed to doing that forever, because I feel like the more I educate myself, the more knowledge I have, like the more I'm growing as a person, and I'm committed to doing that always. I live in the city and I'm walking a lot, but it doesn't even matter. If you don't live in a city, you're probably in your car a lot of the time, and listening to one of these when you're in there instead of listening to music every time is like a ginormous improvement in just putting new information into your brain and getting you to think about something in a different way. I was so surprised at how many different stories and things that I heard on here that related to me or related to someone that I knew on a professional level and then on a personal level, and I was able to like at least refer them to it or have them listen to it or talk about it. And yeah, so those are my 5 nutrition and fitness and health podcast, you like my dance, podcast recommendations. I hope you go and listen to a couple of them at least, and comment below if you do. Tell me what you think. If you have any podcasts that you could recommend that I didn't list today that you think are just awesome, please share them. I am like more than open to expanding my podcast library because I am pretty obsessed. It's like a strong relationship there. We are committed. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Have an amazing, amazing day. It felt like I was eating a mushy bowl of mayonnaise after I tasted that squash and canola oil. Like, oh my god, everything tasted like it, and I just did not enjoy it, not one bit. So